What's up, agents? I am Janko, and I'm here today with a build video from The Division. Now, you may be asking why now in July of 2017 am I bringing you a build video from a gear set that was released last October? Well, the answer to that is kind of twofold. One part of that is that I just started making videos, so I figured why not make a video about my favorite gear set in the game. But also, and more importantly, I think it's a really important time to have a kick-ass PvE gear set that you can grind through content really quickly, really efficiently. See, with 1.7 comes the introduction of global events, and with those global events comes the introduction of classified gear set pieces, and you're going to want a kick-ass set that will allow you to grind those classified pieces as quickly and as efficiently as possible so that you can try to be the first to get a 6-piece bonus set. Also coming back in 1.7 is going to be the Ninja Bag Backpack, which is going to add a ton of versatility and a ton of new build possibilities. Now, I'm sure that you've all heard of glass cannon builds. You know, those builds that are set up in order to get one bullet with a ton of damage flying downrange, generally in a headshot, to just smoke some big target or one-shot enemies. This build is not about that, but what this build does do is it pours tons of bullets downrange, all at really good damage, while being able to stand in front of mobs and just face tank everything that they throw at you. Now, my one caveat for this video is that I've set this up to be a PvE build. That's what I'm most comfortable with, and that's what I do most often. I'm not a very good PvP player, nor do I take part in PvP voluntarily very often. So, if you do find yourself grinding out in the dark zone and agents decide that they want to try to take you out, you just need to watch your positioning. Make sure that they can't get at your flanks. If they toss grenades, jump out of the way as soon as possible, and really utilize your forward rolls or backward rolls in order to re-establish positioning with your shield between you and your target, and you should be able to win a few engagements. That all said, I am not a great PvP player, and I fully own that. However, people that are really good at PvP may have a completely different experience as far as shield builds go. So what I would suggest to you is, if you're a PvP enthusiast, put this build together, give it a shot, tweak it, and then let me know how you tweaked it and how well the build does for you once you get it going. Alrighty, moving into the build in detail, I'm going to start with my skills. First off, I use Booster Shot as an offensive ability at the beginning of every engagement. It gives me a damage boost as well as an overheal, which helps everything else in the build. My shield, with the skill power I have, is at 1.39 million hit points. That is going to just last a super long time against everything. Combat Medic, extremely important. It allows me to heal 40% of that 1.39 million hit points with one med kit. That's 560,000 points of healing with a med kit. One is none, saves bullets with headshots, self-explanatory. On the move, keep moving. Every time you kill something, get yourself 15% incoming damage reduced. Must have. Now, moving on to the most important talent is Precision. What this does is it pulses a hostile as long as you get a headshot. So if you get a headshot early in a fight, it immediately pulses them. Now, with my skill power at 174,000, my basic pulse gives me a bonus critical hit chance of 19%. It also gives me 19% critical hit damage. So that first headshot immediately activates this on that enemy and boosts my critical hit chance and damage both up almost 20% with one bullet. This is how you get a pulse without actually having to need a third skill. Now, we're going to move over to my skill sheet right now, or my character sheet rather, so that I can show you what my critical hit chance is before I enter combat. With my MP5, when I enter combat, my critical hit chance is 42.5%. As soon as I get that first headshot, that goes up 20%, well, 19%, but and that is over the cap. And I don't need Savage gloves in order to do this. You'll see that in a little bit. I have capped critical hit chance without the need of Savage gloves. Now, on my MP5, all of my talents are built around critical hits. Vicious gives me 10% bonus critical hit chance as long as I've got 2 segments of health. Again, booster shot gives me that overheal, gives me that 10%. Self-preserved heals me for 3% of that damage dealt. Deadly boosts that damage dealt and that healing by 15%. All synergizes within themselves to create a perfect critical hit build that's focused on damage with a tiny little bit of healing to make up for my lower toughness. My stamina is low, firearms is just what they need to unlock weapon talents. Past that, everything else has been tossed into electronics to get my skill power up, my shield health up, and my booster shot off of cooldown as quickly as possible. Now moving on to my chest piece, I'm using Vigorous. That allows me to get that overheal with the booster shot at the beginning. All of my gear mods are 3% damage to elite electronics mods. My performance mods are all ballistic shield health. That's how I get that massively huge shield. I'm using a specialized backpack to boost up my skill power. Major attribute of skill power, it's the best in slot in my opinion. Minor attribute, I've got ammo. Ammo can be an issue. You'll find it both on my backpack and on my chest piece. It can be an issue because you're only using one weapon in 95% of your battles. Now my chest piece, I have rolled health. I've done that because I do have low toughness, so it does help out quite a bit with that. Back to my weapons super quick. I'm going to rotate through my mods very, very quickly. You can pause them if you need to, but essentially everything is critical hit damage and critical hit chance with a smattering of headshot damage mixed in there and a tiny little bit of range and a tiny bit of reload speed. Moving on to the mask, this one's got health on kill. I'd like to re-roll that, but this is what it landed with and I needed firearms, so that's what it is, plus damage to elites. You'll find in all of these pieces critical hit chance, critical hit damage in everything, damage to elites everywhere I could get it. Gloves, I've got SMG damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. My holster, I've got reload speed that helps me get more bullets into my gun, which helps me get more bullets downrange more efficiently. My knee pads, pretty self-explanatory, critical hit damage, and again, damage to elites. The increased kill XP is also pretty nice. That I only rolled my weapons to hit my weapon talents, and past that I did not care much at all about anything. I dumped everything else back in electronics, and you'll see how that works out coming up into this next section. You'll see even at less firearms than some people tend to run with these builds, I can hit pretty massive damage numbers with max critical hit chance without the use of Savage and with less than 5,000 firearms. I'm going to speed it up a little bit here to show you how to clear out the top part with a shield build, or at least the most efficient way that I've found. This is how I can make this run solo in about 12 minutes with little chance of ever dying. Charge up here to the left, and then that keeps everything in front of you. That way nothing can get behind you and flank you. Take out that sniper, as she can actually kind of cause issues if you don't, and then just work everybody else down one at a time. If something does get in your flank, if one of the mobs gets there, just turn your attention to them, burn them down super quick, and then go back to keeping everything in front of you. Now when you do get into trouble, pop that med kit. If you see it right there, it boosts, it heals your shield for 40%. So at the numbers we're talking about, as soon as it gets down underneath half, pop it, and you're going to have a full shield again to just keep on mowing down mobs. So now I'm going to talk about the weapon super quickly. I showed it earlier. I'm using an MP5 ST. I have used an MP7 and a PP19, all 3 guns with the same talent. I have found the MP5 ST to fit my particular skills or lack thereof much better. If I was steadier with the thumbs, an MP7 would probably be more efficient. But to me, I ended up missing a lot of bullets and end up reloading more often, which meant I was out of combat more often, which meant I was taking more damage, and that is a snowball effect. The PP19 I also like. I just found the MP5 to do slightly more bursty damage, even though I have to reload slightly more than I did with the than with the PP19. So at this point, I'm going to let the rest of the video just kind of play out so you can see how I attack each section with this. If you like this video, leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on my shield build in particular. If you run a shield build, I'd like to hear what the differences are and what your experiences with it have been. On your way out, please don't forget to smack the like and subscribe buttons so that you don't miss future content from the Division and Destiny 2, which I will be covering in September. Until next time, agents, I am Janko saying thanks a ton and keep living the dream.
impressed, Agent. Tricky assignment.